Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So we're going to talk about our first day as a flight attendant. When you head to the airport, there's some airlines that when you checked in for your trip, you can either go into the crew room or checked in on a computer, or you can use one of the courtesy phone and you can call in and checked in there. Some also other airlines, they also let you able to check in on your phone on an app. So every airline is different. So those are the three ways that you can check in. So for my airline, we have to go to the crew lounge and checked in on the computer. When you checked in on your computer, you print out your schedule. Make sure you just confirm that you're clocked in, because if you don't confirm that you're clocked in, then you're gonna be marked as late, and that's not gonna be a good thing since you just come out of training and you're still on probation. You print your schedule for that particular pairing or that trip that you're gonna be on. Have it with you because it comes in very handy in case any changes happen on that pairing. At least you have the original print out sheet. Normally when you go into the crew room after you checked in and stuff, you're gonna ask anyone in going to LaGuardia, and the flight attendants will be like, yeah, me, whatever, and you introduce you guys self, and that's when you know your position. They're gonna check to make sure that you have all your required items. So make sure you have your required items at all times. So whoever is flying lead will check to make sure you have all the required items and all your information is updated. After that, then you're gonna go to the gate, because you do have a certain period of time that you have to be at the gate after you checked in. I believe some airlines is 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can go to your gate, but don't be late at gate because the gate agent will mark you as late, and that's not gonna be good. Agents love put delays on flight attendants. That's just their thing. Go to the gate agent. You're gonna show your ID. They're gonna confirm that you are actually working that particular trip and you're on the schedule. When you go on the aircraft, always look in the cockpit to see if the pilots are in there and say, hey, my name is such and such. It's just good to introduce yourself when you go in if they're there. You put your bags up in the overhead bin, and you put your personal whatever items that you actually need in the flight in a little cubby in your galley area. After that, you check your required section. All depends on the position you're flying. You have a particular section, you check that section. If you check in the seats, make sure that the safety information cards are in the seats, and if there are vomit bags in the seats. A lot of times the cleaners are the ones who put the vomit bags in the seat, but for me personally, I like to check to make sure there are vomit bags in the seat too. You're gonna make sure that your section is clean. There's no trash on the ground. If there is, you pick up the trash on the ground. Make sure that things are in the seats or in the overhead bins or anything like that. You do your pre-flight checks, whatever your pre-flight checks are within that particular section. Make sure your pre-flight checks is in good order. After you do all that, then a lot of times after that, the captain will come out and introduce him or herself and tell you the flight time and how many passengers and if there's gonna be turbulence or not. Not all the times the pilots come out, but they will definitely brief the lead flight attendant for sure. And the lead flight attendant transfer that information over to the rest of the crew members. The gate agent is gonna come down and ask you guys if you guys need anything like ice or any supplies, gloves, masks, stuff like that. If everything is good, they say we're good, and then they're gonna ask if you're ready to board in either 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever the situation is. The lead flight attendant is gonna ask you guys, hey, you guys ready to board? And after that, they're gonna start boarding. During the boarding process, you're gonna stay in your position area. There's a couple things that you got to check during boarding. The boarding process is one of the most stressful process. So a couple things you have to check. So if there are passengers coming down with strollers, you have to also check to make sure the strollers have a green tag and the strollers outside the jet bridge, not on the aircraft. According to the FAA, there's certain strollers are not allowed to store it in the aircraft. So you check to make sure people are wearing their masks properly over their nose and mouth. A lot of passengers don't know how to wear their mask. You look at their luggages to make sure the luggages are not too big. So a lot of times they'll bring the 24-inch luggage on the aircraft, which 24 inches has to be checked. So anything above past 22 inches has to be checked. Check if anyone has the kids that have car seats. There's certain car seats that the children cannot sit in. They have to be in the overhead bin or underneath the seat. If it's a big car seat, If it doesn't have aircraft approved labeled on it in red, then it has to be checked by the ticket agent, and it go underneath the aircraft. The ones that bring on the car seats, if it says aircraft approved, then you know that they pay for the seat. So you checked for those car seats and make sure the car seats are in certain areas, because there's certain areas you cannot put car seats in and certain seats that you cannot put car seats in. So you have to make sure those areas are good. Normally with exit rows, you cannot put a car seat in front or behind or in an exit row. You always have to be a one row space between the exit rows. So you got to look at stuff like that too. And car seats has to be positioned at the windows at all time. Unless they have two car seats, it will be window and middle, never blocking your aisle at all. You check to make sure that if any passengers have any animals, you have a list of sheet with all the passengers information where they're sitting at, and if you have wheelchairs or if you have any pets or service animals or anything like that. A lot of times passengers will bring animals on board not knowing that they need to pay for the animals, and some of them know that they need to pay for the animals and sneak the animals on the aircraft, which is not good. Because if a FAA audits your flight, then you guys will get in trouble. You get a fine for it, and FAA fines are not cheap whatsoever. The airlines will also get a fine. So just double check to make sure you check, you're basically eyeballing the passengers, and to make sure that there are no animals in their bags or an animal bag or anything like that. Because during the middle of the flight, you see an animal all out of nowhere, you'll be like, what the heck is this? And for them, they always call, oh, it's a service animal. You're like, it's not a service animal, because you already know if there's a service animal or not on the aircraft, because you already have the documentation if there is an animal on board or is a pet on board. So you know, they think you don't know, but you know, because you already have proof of the information. A lot of times they will say, yeah, it's a service. You're like, I don't have documentation of this. If it's a service animal, did you send in your paperwork? No, then it's not a service animal, it's a pet. Did you pay for it? Yes. Okay. Pets goes in the bag. To the FAA, pets have to be inside their bag at all times and locked throughout the flight and doesn't need any attention. That's what the FAA required according to pets. Only official service animals are working animals, which service animals can go into laboratory with the owner, because they are actually working service animals. We're allowed to give service animals water if they need water and stuff like that. Pets are pets are just pets. They're not allowed in a lavatory, and again, pets need to be fed before they come on the aircraft, because again, pets are not trained. According to the FAA, they're not trained animals, and pets can do bowel movements on the aircraft. So that's why they always have to stay inside their bags at all time. And then plus, there are people who are allergic to animals, certain type of animals like dogs, and also scared of certain type of animals as well. So close to the end of the boarding process, you're going to make sure that everyone seatbelts are all fastened. A lot of times you say something 10,000 times, passengers will go through one ears and go through the other. It's like a daycare center when you're talking to kids. And yes, passengers are the worst kids ever at times, to be honest, even though they're adults, but they can act worse than kids, to say the least. But that's the truth. I'm just gonna let you guys know. So you gotta double check to make sure their seatbelt is fastened. The tray tables are up for takeoff. Their bags, a lot of times they love to put the bags all over their body, in their lap, between your legs, like the bag's gonna go somewhere. The bags have to be pushed under the seat in front of them, can't be blocking their aisle at anything, and can be blocking their aisle in case of emergency. That's to make sure the aisles are in their aisle pathway is actually clear. Laptops are closed during before takeoff process and stowed. They can't have the laptop on their body or anything like that in case of emergency. Exit row windows are open for takeoff, and the aisles are clear in the exit row windows, and any bags they have across their shoulder has to be removed and stowed away. And those are like the major things during the boarding process. I mean, I can do a video talk about the common questions that passengers ask during the boarding process, so you know how to answer these questions, because you're gonna hear these questions a lot, and the first day is probably gonna be overwhelming for you. But if you guys want to know questions that passengers ask during the boarding process, then I can go over a Q&A or question section or video for you guys. Also, you have to look for if passengers, like there's certain states that you come from, like Las Vegas, I have to visually look to make sure the passengers are looking okay. Like there's some passengers, they will look sick. Now that we're wearing masks, sometimes it's hard to tell. But before the mask, we could tell if the passengers look like he or she's intoxicated. Sometimes you smell the alcohol on them, and the way how they walk. They side to side walking down the aisle, so you have to visually look at stuff like that, or any signs of a passenger with an ear sick bag. You can tell that they're sick during the boarding process. So it's a lot of different things that you have to look for. When it comes to masks, there's some airlines that doesn't allow the mask with the valves on them, so you also have to make sure they're wearing the proper mask, or the bandana mask. You have to make sure that they have the proper mask, because sometimes they may slip past the first flight attendants or friends, and they don't realize that certain things they don't have the correct things there. So you also have to check to make sure that no passengers having alcohol. Most of those I have to do with like Vegas flights. They will bring their alcohol on board and drink it during the boarding process. You gotta check, make sure they didn't buy anything at the bar, liquor at the bar, and bring it on the aircraft, because they can't drink their own liquor on the aircraft. Some airlines you have to serve them the liquor. Every airline is different, but they can't bring their own and drink it themselves. It has to be served from a flight attendant to them. So those are the most things that happen really during boarding process, except from the question part of it. But that's the things that you have to look for during that time. And oh yeah, and there are some luggages that are not approved to bring on board the aircraft. Passengers with disability, like certain oxygen tanks, are not allowed on the aircraft due to the fact that it will blow up the aircraft. It has to be checked under the plane. So you got to look at some of the medical devices that the older people are bringing on the aircraft, especially when you see them with the tube in your nose. You gotta just double check to make sure that those are okay. If you're not sure how to confirm that, you can always call guest service agent, and they'll confirm the medical device, because everything has to be documented on your sheet. So everything with the airline, everything has to be documented. It's just how it is when it comes to airlines. But yeah, those are the major things. If you have any questions, you can comment below. And also for flight attendants, we do have certain apps that we use to check our schedule on. I can't tell you guys the apps on YouTube, but when you are a flight attendant, you go to the line, you can ask other flight attendants what are the apps that I can use so I can see my schedule. There is like two apps that you can use. One of the apps was created by one of our flight attendants for our company, and the other one was created by one of our pilots from our company. So, and both apps are actually great. You do have to pay for these apps. Some is $9 a year, and some is like $2 a month, something like that. But again, just ask one of the flight attendants when you get to the line which are the apps that they use to view their schedule. And it comes very handy, because it has everything on it. It has not just your schedule. Some apps you can drop your trip, trade your trip, and all that kind of stuff. You see the whole month schedule, and when you click on your parent, it basically tells you the flight time, if there is a delay or cancellation. Also, it tells you your layover time, layover hours, where you're layover in, the hotel information, what's around the hotel, all that kind of stuff that's on the app. So it's very useful to have the app. download it on your phone. It's gonna be the video for today. I think that's all you guys will need for the first day of the flight attendants. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification button, and I'll see you guys next time. So again, just comment below, guys, if you wanted me to do a video of the questions that passengers ask during the boarding process, so you guys can prepare for those questions, and you guys won't need to get nervous to answer those questions or you know, not knowing what to say. If you guys have not checked out my previous videos, go ahead and do so, because all my videos, I have great tips and tricks in all my videos, and it's very educational as well. And I see you guys next time. Bye.